In college hoops, Miami Hurricanes basketball standout Isaiah Wong is thinking of entering the transfer portal. The two-time ACC player is looking for his current name, image, and likeness deal to be increased. If not, he could be playing elsewhere next year, according to his agent. Wong was the second leading scorer for the Canes this past season, the same team that was able to reach the Elite Eight for the first time in program history. By the way, the deadline is Sunday to enter the portal for Wong. We'll see what happens there. And for more on this, senior college basketball insider and writer Matt Norlander has been working the phones on this. And your thoughts here when it comes to Wong, his demands of entering the portal, also when it comes to his NIL.
There's so much going on with this story, Brandon. But yes, what we have here is a college sports first. We have a representative of a player. This is the kind of thing you see happen with NFL holdouts, NBA contracts, right? But it's different in college because college players are not tied to actual contracts that they have to abide by when playing for a team. A college player can simply decide with basically no repercussions, if I don't want to play for your program anymore, I'm not going to do that, and I'll go into the transfer portal. Now, granted, as you said, Isaiah Wong has just a couple more days to officially enter his name into the portal if he wants to be eligible for next season. But yes, a first saying, if I don't get more money, I'm not necessarily going to stay and play at Miami. This has a lot of coaches freaking out. I've obviously been working the phones since this happened, talking to people surrounding the situation, but also in the ACC, at the power conference level. Frankly, coaches at other programs who have encountered some of these things. Here's the most important thing that I think viewers need to take away from this. What's happening here with Isaiah Wong, who is a good player, it's not like this is the first time. It's just that other instances of this happening where a player might go to a coach or a player might go to a third-party representative that is working on an NIL deal, might do this privately and say, listen, I want more money. Like, can we establish a situation where I can get paid more than I'm currently being paid? That has been happening. It just hasn't happened and played out in public, but it's no secret that there are even players right now in the transfer portal that have left one place, are seeking to go to another, and a significant, not the only reason, but a significant reason behind their decision is they believe by virtue of leaving, they will be able to attract college teams as suitors and then third-party independent businesses or really rich boosters to say, all right, let's see what we can do. You know, you might have been making this or might not have been making anything at your former school. Let's see if we can get you something a little bit more here. Wong's just taking it public, and it's created a situation that obviously a lot of people see as untenable in the long term, because what college sports and the minds of plenty of people, it can't have is a situation where this becomes an annual thing where 3, 5, 15 players are publicly trying to renegotiate the terms of their NIL deals. Meantime, Brandon, Jim Larinaga and Miami's caught in the middle of this. Just as a reminder to our viewers, you know, the schools can't and don't officially deal with this directly, and they can't comment on it. This is a situation with Wong and the NIL deal he has with the billionaire. That's what has to be resolved. Miami just happens to be caught in the middle of it, and so as a result, Wong might wind up going into the portal in the next 24 to 48 hours.
You just mentioned it there. The coaches, they have no input on this. This is something totally different, not when you're thinking about inside the locker room, but just seeing this play out in public the first time that we're all noticing this. We've seen most of this happen behind closed doors. Maybe could this be a problem for the NCAA moving forward when you're thinking about some of these top-tier talents that maybe, you know, NIL, can I get a little bit more money here or I'm out the door? Is this an example we might see across the country?
Potentially, yes. And again, this is such a complex issue. We got into it on the most recent edition of Eye on College Basketball, talking about Mark Emmert, because just big picture real quick, Brandon, had Mark Emmert been a better NCAA president and had the NCAA overall attacked this issue years ago, then we wouldn't have had the combustible combination of NIL happening at a conference by conference, school by school, state by state level, and the transfer portal just colliding in the same span of a few months here, and it's created something that's very flammable. Going forward, yeah, there's an idea that players deserve empowerment, they deserve to be paid, but can we establish some sort of, I'm going to say the word that I hate using because it's become a cliche, but some sort of guardrails that can distinguish, because as plenty of coaches have brought up to me in the past 24 hours, Brandon, there is a tangible difference between, say, Oscar Tshiebwe at Kentucky. He was the National Player of the Year. He looks at his NBA prospects. maybe he'd be drafted, maybe he wouldn't. And then he looks at Kentucky. If he returns, he has people waiting to welcome him back with open arms saying, Oscar, we'll make you a millionaire as a college basketball player. You're that good. You've earned it. You were the National Player of the Year, right? That's NIL, I think, at its platonic ideal. He has earned all of that money based on his achievements. Armando Bacot at North Carolina is the same deal. The difference between that and a player saying, I have a current NIL deal, I'm explicitly asking you to pay me more money, otherwise I'm going to go somewhere else. That's not in the same spirit, and there needs to be some sort of legislation, probably, if it can even be adopted, eventually in a year or 2 or 3, that says those two situations are different. One is NIL, one is pay for play. It makes for some incredible spectacle, and frankly, there is entertainment value to this as well. But to be clear, behind the scenes, commissioners, athletic directors, coaches, they're really concerned about this because they just don't think that this situation can sustain itself in the long term. Part of me, Barrington, believes that might be a little over the top, but to say it's not an issue would be a lie. It is an issue, and we wait and see if Wong will go through on what amounts to his threat, because the billionaire, John Ruiz, associated with the story at Miami, he's saying he's not renegotiating. So if that's the case, and Wong does want more money, then he'll be in the portal by the end of the weekend.
And again, that deadline is Sunday. As always, appreciate your time. Matt Norlander with that news there with Isaiah Wong maybe thinking transfer portal. You can catch Matt along with Gary Parrish in the latest pod on the Eye on College Basketball podcast here. You heard him talk about NCAA President Mark Emmert leaving in June 2023. So this might be a big problem, of course, leading into the season. Those guys talk about it. Download and give them a follow.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.